On the world of Kelith, silence usually meant something was about to die. The grasslands stretched in silver waves beneath twin suns. Herd beasts grazed in tight circles. Razor-winged gliders traced slow arcs in the sky. And at the edge of the research outpost, just beyond the perimeter fence, a small, striped predator crouched low in the grass. Its name, according to the translation software, was unpronounceable to human tongues. So the xenobiologists had settled on a simple nickname. Spark. Spark was a Virexian thunderclaw cub. At full growth, a thunderclaw stood taller than a ground transport, plated in natural armor, with a bite force strong enough to crack stone. They ruled the grasslands. Nothing hunted them, except, perhaps, boredom. Spark was young, barely the size of a large Terran mastiff. Her stripes shimmered faint blue in the sunlight. Her 4 ears twitched independently as she watched the strange pink creature standing alone. Outside the outpost fence, the human was laughing. Sergeant Mara Ionescu had been stationed on Kelith for 6 months. She had learned 2 things. First, thunderclaws were apex predators. Second, thunderclaw cubs were curious. The xenobiology team had strict instructions. Do not approach adult thunderclaws. Do not approach cubs. Do not make sudden movements. Do not, under any circumstances, provoke a roar. Mara had read the manual. Then she had met Spark. The cub had started appearing near the outpost 3 weeks ago. At first she watched from far away. Then she crept closer. She sniffed the fence. She pawed at equipment crates. Once she had fallen asleep beside a solar generator. Today she was stalking. Mara stood in the tall grass with her helmet off. Her dark hair was tied back. She held no weapon. Her pulse rifle rested inside the fence behind her. Through the observation window, Dr. Selick hissed in alarm. Sergeant, the cub is in predatory posture, the Virexian scientist said through the cum. His scales flushed pale green with anxiety. You must withdraw immediately. Mara grinned. Relax, Doc. She's playing. Spark's tail swayed low. Her shoulders bunched. Her pupils narrowed into sharp vertical slits. Then she sprang. She bounded through the grass in a blur of stripes and claws. 5 meters away, she let out a high-pitched roar. It was not the bone-shaking thunder of an adult. It was shrill and fierce and proud. The sound rolled across the valley. Mara did not run. She planted her boots. She filled her lungs, and she roared back. It was not refined. It was not elegant. It was a raw human battle shout pulled from the deepest part of her chest. It carried every echo of ancient forests and open plains. It held the memory of wolves faced with fire and storms faced with laughter. Her roar was louder. Spark skidded to a halt in the grass. The cub blinked, her ears flattened in confusion. She tilted her head. Mara roared again, louder, longer. She threw her arms wide and stomped, 1 foot for emphasis, from inside the outpost. 3 researchers froze in horror. Sparks, single quotes, S, tail lifted. Twitched once. Then the cub did something no one had ever recorded in Virexian. Behavioral studies. She flopped onto her side. Her legs kicked in the air. Her armored tail thumped wildly against the ground. A rumbling purr vibrated through the grass. She was wagging. Mara laughed and dropped to one knee. Yeah, that's right, she said softly. You think you're scary? Spark rolled upright and bounced toward her. She let out another, smaller roar, almost questioning. Mara answered immediately, louder again. Spark fell over once more, paws curling inward, tail whipping back and forth so hard it flattened the grass. Inside the observation room, Dr. Selleck stared at the monitors. "Impossible," he whispered. "Thunderclaw cubs assert dominance through vocal escalation. If overmatched, they retreat." "She's not retreating," said one of the human researchers. "No," Selleck said slowly. "She is, inviting repetition." Outside, Mara lowered herself to sit cross-legged. Spark crept closer, sniffing. The cub's nose brushed Mara's boot, then her knee, then her hand. Mara did not reach first. She waited. Spark huffed warm breath against her. Fingers, then the cub made a soft searing sound and pressed her forehead against Mara's shoulder. The valley did not go silent this time. It watched. Over the next few days, the ritual continued. Spark would stalk. She would roar. Mara would roar louder. Spark would collapse dramatically into the grass, tail thrashing in delighted surrender. The adult thunderclaws began to notice. One evening, as twin suns dipped low and painted the plains in gold, a massive shape emerged from the tall grass. An adult female her armor plates were scarred from old battles. Her eyes glowed amber. Spark bounded toward her mother and roared proudly, as if announcing a conquest. The adult's gaze shifted to Mara. Dr. Selleck's voice came sharp over the cum. "Sergeant, return inside now." Mara stood slowly. She did not run. She did not reach for her rifle. The adult thunderclaw inhaled. Her roar shook. The air, it was deep, vast. It rolled across the valley like thunder across mountains. The ground trembled under Mara's boots. Spark looked between them, tail flicking nervously. Mara swallowed. Then she did the only thing she could think of. She roared back. It was smaller than the adults. It lacked the raw power. But it did not waver. It did not break. The adult thunderclaw lowered her head slightly. She studied this strange, fragile creature that answered thunder with thunder. Spark gave a hopeful little chirp. Mara drew in another breath and roared again, this time with a sharp upward pitch at the end, copying Spark's playful challenge. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then the adult thunderclaw exhaled. Slowly, she turned her head away, and Spark pounced on Mara's leg with a delighted squeal. Inside the outpost, silence gave way to stunned laughter. Dr. Selleck slumped into a chair. "The apex predator of Kelith has been socially engaged," he murmured, "through vocal competition, by a being with no claws." Mara scratched behind Spark's ear plates. The cub leaned into her touch and made that deep, rumbling purr again. The adult thunderclaw settled into the grass a short distance away. She did not approach. She did not threaten. She simply watched as her cub wrestled gently with the loud pink alien who refused to be intimidated. News of the interaction spread quickly through the interstellar networks. Footage of a human roaring down a thunderclaw cub went viral across 3 sectors. Some species were horrified. Others were fascinated. A few began revising their diplomatic assessments of humanity because on Kelith, among predators that ruled by fear and volume and dominance, a small human had done something unprecedented. She had answered a challenge, not with submission and not with violence, but with a louder roar. And when the predator cub roared in play, the human roared louder, and it fell over wagging its tail.